A very good Friday evening to you and welcome to News First Primetime News. I am Shaheen Jurong Party.
And I'm Katrina Chang. But before we get into your stories in detail, let's first take a look at the headlines.
No confidence motion against the Prime Minister handed over to the Secretary General of Parliament. A full stop to the destruction of forest, a pledge by the President. Minister Partali reflects on the threats from dealers.
A
plea to the Attorney General to consider the Kotakethana double murder verdict.
In your top story this evening, the no confidence motion against Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe was handed over to Secretary General of Parliament Dhammika Dasanayake this afternoon.
A group of United People's Freedom Alliance MPs led by MP Manusha Nanayakkara handed over the no-confidence motion. Secretary General of Parliament Dhammika Dasanayake said that the motion comprised of signatures of 112 MPs.
Last night we visited Madamula and had a discussion with the Speaker and obtained his approval. We also met the leadership of the United People's Freedom Alliance and obtained the approval for the submission of the no-confidence motion. On previous occasions, no confidence motions contained only a signature or two or around 20 signatures. This is the first time in history that a no confidence motion has been submitted with 112 signatures. This is a very serious no confidence motion ever submitted.
The no confidence motion against the Prime Minister comprises of 8 points. They are operating as the Prime Minister in violation of the Constitution and without the mandate of the majority in Parliament, suspending a large number of large and small development projects and thus causing hundreds of thousands to lose their self-employment methods and means of income, politicizing the police force by violating the police ordinance, creating an issue over the cost of living, the appointment of a non-Sri Lankan to the post of Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, accountable of Sri Lanka's largest financial loss through the issue of treasury bonds, severely tarnishing international relations, implementation of state financial policies in a manner that discourages the private sector. News First contacted Deputy Speaker of Parliament Shandima Weerakodi on how the no-confidence motion submitted today will be taken up for debate. This can be termed as the moment that a no-confidence motion has been submitted with a large number of signatures for the first time in the parliamentary history. There is a possibility of entering this motion into the parliamentary agenda by Wednesday next week. After it is included into the agenda, it will remain in the parliamentary agenda for a period of 5 days. At the end of those 5 days, a party leaders meeting will be convened and a day will be decided on the debate to be held and included to the parliamentary agenda. Therefore, it can be debated on a day decided at the party leaders meeting. According to the parliamentary traditions, when such a motion is submitted, it will be given priority over other motions and will be taken up for debate. The end of the debate would be the passing of the motion with a majority.
At events held at various parts of the island today, views were expressed that the people's aspirations need to be given priority over matters pertaining to the dissolution of Parliament, the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, and bringing those corrupt before the law.
On behalf of the government, the Prime Minister and on behalf of the opposition, we all stood up and raised one voice for the dissolution of Parliament. I believe that it was for the first time in history that a Speaker had approved of it while seated on the Speaker's chair. The unanimous stance of MP from both sides were approved. The President now needs to dissolve Parliament, or if the Prime Minister does not have a majority, to establish a new government. A new government can be established with the leader of the United People's Freedom Alliance being appointed as the Prime Minister. This is the second alternative that the President has weeks after dissolving Parliament. In Parliament, they are not raising a voice for the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. They are raising a voice for the dissolution of Parliament. What we ask is it fair? This 7th Parliament has been elected to function until the month of April 2016. Within the constitutional framework, the President has the power to dissolve Parliament before its tenure ends. When there is a provision for the 20th Amendment to the Constitution to be made, we do not believe that the President will cast aside that opportunity and dissolve Parliament. As public representatives, our responsibility is not to avoid matters that affect the masses as a whole and simply think of little things. We need to pass the 20th Amendment. After the proper demarcations are set, we can hold the next elections according to the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. President Maithripala Sirisena does not boast. He does not hold children for show. He is not a political actor. He is not a political servant. That is why the people of this country need to take a clear decision. No matter who commits it, a wrong is a wrong. The same was committed before the 8th of January and also after the 8th of January. We are now of the stance that the deal brokers or the intermediate persons need to be brought before the law. We are against the political hunt carried out under the guise of it. Rogues need to be punished. They must be definitely punished, and there needs to be an end to it as well.
President Maithripala Sirisena says that racketeers will not be allowed to destroy forests. The President made this statement at the national ceremony to mark the World Environment Day in Polonnaruwa today.
Sri Lanka marked World Environment Day 2015 today with the national ceremony at Watadage Historical Site in Madirigiriya, Polonnaruwa. The event started off with the planting of tree saplings, and the President noted that the forest area of Sri Lanka had drastically reduced over the past, despite the numbers recorded in books.
Over the past 5 to 6 years, massive projects were initiated in the country. I will not name them because it may hurt the feelings of some. Massive projects were launched without an environment impact assessment report. When an airport was being constructed in the southern province, peacocks were killed in hundreds. Because of the adamant political decisions taken regarding some projects, the country has to face severe environmental destruction. When I was travelling to Jaffna last week, I witnessed the destruction caused in Vilpattu. During my tenure, no politician or businessman or racketeer will be allowed to destroy forests to earn an income. I will not allow that. I must clearly state that I have no personal connection to any one of them. I have no deals with any businessmen, racketeers and politicians who commit wrongful acts. I do not care if they are from the UMP or the SLFP. We cannot allow the destruction of our forests to take place.
Now, World Environment Day was celebrated today under the theme 7 billion dreams, 1 planet, consume with care. The main celebration of World Environment Day was held in Italy.
A number of events were organized locally as well in line with World Environment Day. A World Environment Day exhibition and seminar was held in Colombo today. The chief guest of the event was Partali Champika Ranawaka, the Minister of Power and Energy.
This issue was in existence even when I was the Minister of Environment. That is, illegal land reclamation for the creation of settlements. In 2007, a certain group grabbed lands in Lahugala. When they were removed from that place, those in the government said that they will move away. They said that they will topple the government if the lands were not given. In the future, if settlements are to be created, they need to be done so after an EIA report and proper identification process.
The Pivituru Hetak National Movement also organized an event to mark World Environment Day. We plan to expand our expressway road network. But did this solve the transportation issue of the people?
What we should have done is, with the funds used to build expressways, we should have built a network of double-line railways across the island. We are building hotel complexes at a very rapid pace, but we still haven't decided how to build homes in Kandy, Badulla or Bandaravilla. Now we need to take a decision to build a house with less than 5 floors.
The Rambhumi Rally for Unity, travelling across the country spreading the message of national unity, marked day 29 of its journey today. The destination of the rally on day 29 was Valigama.
As the Rambhumi Rally for Unity travels through villages and towns, bridging hearts and minds, a large crowd was present at the event to commence the rally from Kamarupitiya. The Rambhumi Rally for Unity was led by a marching band and was extended a warm and hearty welcome in Kamarupitiya. A group including group directors of the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited, Ashni Mudalige and Anuradha Singha, and executive officers, representatives from the National Youth Services Council and invitees were present at the ceremony.
ජාතිය ආගම කුලය පදනම් කරගෙන
Do not allow anyone to divide you based on religion, race and creed. Through that, the future generations will be presented a peaceful motherland with no fear of violence. As Sri Lanka's first local company, the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited will not back down in the face of challenges, obstacles, allegations and criticisms when doing something better for the future of the country.
ජාතියේ පොදු යහපත උදෙසා නොපසුබස්නා වීරියෙන් දැවැන්ත මෙහෙවරක යෙදෙනවා.
This performance in Kamarupitiya caught the attention of all who were gathered. Although they were not fortunate to see, they joined with the Rambhumi Rally for Unity to create a better future with much enthusiasm. The people of Kamarupitiya joined hands to etch their mark on the Rambhumi Rally for Unity while invoking their blessings on the rally.
As a country and as a nation, we see that building of reconciliation is the need of the hour. Therefore, we, the National Youth Services Council, together with the MTV-MBC networks, have undertaken a great task.
Amidst the wishes of the people of Kamarupitiya, the Rambhumi Rally for Unity headed towards its second stop of the day, Madara. A grand ceremony was organized to welcome the Rambhumi Rally for Unity to Madara. The Rambhumi Rally for Unity was accorded a hearty welcome at the Mahanama Bridge in Madara. Chief Executive Officer and Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited, Mohan Barara, and several other executive officers were present at the occasion. Assistant Director of the National Youth Services Council for the Madara District, TLLA Jasekara, and other officials were also present. The ceremony to extend wishes to the Rambhumi Rally opposite the Madara bus stand comprised of many items. The Madara Journalist Organisation, members of the Madara Industries and Commerce Chamber were also present to extend their wishes for the Rambhumi Rally, spreading the message of coexistence.
Rambhumi Rally for Unity has been instrumental in taking the message of peace, brotherhood, unity, mutual understanding and trust among the Sinhala, Tamil, Muslim, Christian and all other communities in Sri Lanka, across village, town and cities across the islands. This will enable us to transform Sri Lanka into one of the greatest countries in the world. We are committed to all these tasks for the future of our children. As one of the leading institutions in Sri Lanka, the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited will never back down from doing what it needs to be done for the goodwill and development of the country and the people, no matter what the challenges.
mothers, fathers and my dear children. We as the MTV-MBC network have always been with you and will be with you. We were with you in happiness and sorrow, and we will be with you right throughout.
The people of Mathura banded together to make their mark on the Ranbhoomi Rally for Unity, highlighting their commitment to create national unity. Bidding farewell to Mathura, the Ranbhoomi Rally for Unity commenced its journey to its final destination of the day, Waligama, this afternoon.
The first international arbitration centre in Sri Lanka was declared open under the auspices of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe this morning. The International Arbitration Centre was established on level 22 of the West Tower of the World Trade Centre in Colombo. The aim of the centre is to provide arbitration services to any country in the world and help them solve disputes arising with international trade agreements. The Ministry of Justice states that Sri Lanka could generate foreign exchange following the establishment of the International Arbitration Centre.
Sri Lankan judges origin long before there were Indian judges sitting in the bench in India. So this is the tradition that we had. The tradition we upheld. A tradition of which we could be proud of. So unless you have this tradition and you uphold the laws, you will not make International Arbitration Centre just by putting up a building. But we must also remember that we departed from this tradition a decade or more back. You look at the stock exchange below, we are cleaning it up. That's why we have to start a serious frauds and financial crime division. Next will be organized crime division. You cannot have organized crime, you can't have commercial crime, you can't have these frauds, and we'll also look at bringing in laws dealing with drug trafficking in Sri Lanka. Those things cannot be allowed.
According to an international survey, Colombo has secured the top spot in the fastest growing tourist cities category. The data came to light following the Global Destination Cities Survey 2015 carried out by MasterCard. The index was compiled in terms of total international overnight visitor arrivals and cross-border spending. While London was on the top of the rankings, Bangkok, Paris and Dubai was placed second, third and fourth respectively. According to the survey, Colombo clinched the top spot in the world's fastest growing tourist cities. When comparing data from the last 6 years, Colombo has seen a staggering growth of 21% in tourist arrivals. Chengdu, China, Abu Dhabi in UAE, Osaka in Japan and Riyadh in Saudi Arabia were also ranked among the top 5 cities the travellers visited in 2015.
MP Nimasri Party Silva says that the United National Party and the Sri Lanka Freedom Party have not reached an agreement to form a national government.
Issuing a communique, the opposition leader requests that if such an agreement exists, it should be revealed to the country. The communique states that copies of such an agreement, if it exists, should be presented to the media. Opposition leader Nimal Siripala de Silva alleges that the government is making fictional statements and misleading the public to avoid defeat at the next elections.
The Women for Rights organization has submitted a request to the Attorney General for a re-appeal on the verdict of the Kotakethana double homicide.
The organization points out that according to media reports, the 3 suspects were acquitted because the prosecution failed to prove the case without reasonable doubt. They add that when looking at the clause, it is evident that there is ample evidence to proceed with the case. The organization in its letter to the Attorney General says that these crimes are not simple homicides but are crimes committed to challenge the entire female population. The organization requests that the verdict be re-appealed under the Attorney General and to provide justice to the aggrieved family.
What we question is this. A murder has taken place, and since this is a crime, there should be people who are responsible for these murders. There should be people who are responsible for these crimes. Therefore, we make requests from the Attorney General. He is the only person capable of continuing this case. We made a written request to the Attorney General to produce the suspects and appeal to the Supreme Court. This is another opportunity for the suspects to continue their life of crime. The requests made by Avant-Garde Security Services to relocate the floating armory, which came under much controversy over the recent past, to another ship was turned down by the Criminal Investigations Department. Avantgarde Security Services submitted to court that since the insurance cover of the ship anchored at the Galle harbour had expired in March, there is a need to relocate the armoury. The CID objected to the decision before the Galle Magistrates Court today. However, the Galle Magistrate is yet to announce its decision on the matter.
The case was taken up today before Galle Chief Magistrate Nilipuli Lankapura. The magistrate ordered that the chairman of Avantgarde that all administrative and financial documentation pertaining to Avantgarde Maritime Services since its inception in 2012 kept secured. The case was postponed until the 17th of July.
The Criminals Investigation Department informed the Colombo Magistrates Court today that they found the three-wheeler suspected to have been used in the assassination of former MP Nadaraj Raviraj.
The case was taken up before Colombo Additional Magistrate Nirosha Fernando today. The CID was granted permission to carry out further investigations into the three-wheeler in question. Furthermore, court ordered 5 suspects who were arrested in connection with the murder be further remanded until the 19th of this month. Parliamentarian Nadaraja Raviraj was shot dead near his residence at a Manning town in Narayanpeta in November 2006. A petition was filed at the Court of Appeal to make null and void the Gazette notification issued regarding the Financial Crimes Investigations Division. The petition was filed by Venle Gunavanthera and Professor Carlo Fonseca.
The petitioners state that the establishment of the FCID contravenes the police ordinance and the rule of law. The petition also states that it is illegal to establish a subcommittee which comprises of cabinet ministers and functions under the directive of the Prime Minister, whilst there are 64 units of the police to investigate crimes and other related matters.
Chairman of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress and parliamentarian Bashir Segudaud, in a letter to President Maithripala Sirisena, requests for the legal status for the coastal district of Ampara to be enacted before the dissolution of Parliament. In the letter, he requests the establishment of a full-fledged additional district secretariat with all administrative power, comprising the majority Tamil-speaking areas. The letter by the chairman of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress reads that during the recent presidential election, the SLMC supported current President Maithripala Sirisena as the common candidate, and the Muslim community is disappointed over the delay in establishing an administrative district. Bashir Segudaud says that in 1982, during the time of late President J.R. Jayawardena, only the Kilinochchi district was established. The letter reads that the 2002 United National Party government also attempted to undertake a similar process but failed in doing so. He adds that the Muslims are perturbed and disappointed over the long delay.
The Lanka Indian Oil Company, or LIOC, says that the company has not yet taken a decision to curtail its supply to the market despite suffering losses in light of the increasing global crude oil prices. Managing Director of the Lanka IOC, Subodh Dakwale, said that they are anticipating the fuel price formula to be introduced by the government.
Media reports emerged that the Lanka Indian Oil Company, which claims a 17% market share of petrol and diesel sales in the island, is to curtail its supply to the market by a staggering 50%. News First made inquiries in this regard from the Managing Director of the Lanka IOC, Subodh Dakwale.
We have never cut down the supplies so far. If you see that for last 3-4 months, ever since the prices have been reduced, there has been a spurt in the growth also. So we have never cut it down so far, and our intention also is to keep it at the same level of what was there at the last year. So there is no question of cutting down by 50%.
However, Subodh Dakwale said that taking into account the price revision made by the present regime to reduce fuel prices, LIOC had suffered losses in light of the increasing global crude oil prices.
We are selling it at a loss. The prices that were revised, we are keeping the crude prices at $45 on a particular day. And since then there has been an increase, and the crude prices gone even up to $66 also. And currently are in the range of 65, 66. So there is a huge loss as far as particularly in the petrol segment is concerned. We are almost losing to an extent of 28 to 30 rupees a litre on petrol, which is a major cause of concern. There is a loss of, say, a rupee or so, not much, a couple of rupees sometimes It's like that. So diesel, the losses are not to that extent.
According to the Finance Ministry, the special commodity levy on imported potatoes has been reduced from Rs 55 to 30 rupees per kilogram. Similarly, the levy on big onions has been reduced from 30 rupees to 10 rupees per kilogram. The ministry noted that the decision was made in order to ease the burden of the people.
Police have identified 4 suspects who are among the group that attacked the house of Mayor of Kurunegala, Anuradha Gamini Perumunage, during the early hours of today.
Police media spokesperson ASP Ruwan Gunasekara said that the mayor's residence was attacked at around 12:30 midnight. The mayor's house and a vehicle were damaged in the attack.
I identified 2 of the attackers. I will be able to identify the rest if I see them. This can be termed as an act of political vengeance. I even saw machetes, poles and guns. I saw 3 of them and there were 4 in the 3-wheeler. It was a red 3-wheeler. I have provided the police with the number plate of the 3-wheeler.
Meanwhile, a store just 500 meters away from the residence of the mayor also came under attack by a certain group at midnight yesterday.
A 3-wheeler came and stopped here at around 12:30 midnight. They started smashing everything for no apparent reason. These people don't have any grudges with anyone. They came with clubs and swords. They broke and shattered the windows and left.
Meanwhile, another residence in the Ambalanpati area in Kurunegala was attacked by an unidentified group. According to our correspondent, the residence belongs to former Presidential Coordinating Director of the Kurunegala district, Prabhat Vimal Kumara.
The roof of a doctor's official residence in Galnava Divisional Hospital collapsed last night. According to our correspondent, the remaining official quarters are also in a dilapidated state.
The roof of the official quarters of a doctor attached to the Galnava Divisional Hospital who was living with her family collapsed last night. According to our correspondent, except for the roof above the room in which the family was in, the remaining part had collapsed. I heard a loud noise last night. The doctor's husband had been injured by the wood. He had left for the other room 2 minutes before the room collapsed. Minutes later, this happened. Our correspondent said that the remaining official quarters too are in a dilapidated state and roofs of a majority of them are in a poor condition.
I have been serving at the Galnava Hospital for over 28 years. All the official quarters are in a dilapidated state. They are not suitable for the accommodation of the employees. Now, President Maithripala Sirisena says that if the passage of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution is not achieved, Parliament would be dissolved. The President made this statement at a meeting held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday.
The meeting last night was attended by leaders of civil organizations and activists who extended their support to President Maithripala Sirisena at the presidential election.
At times, there are discussions in the political sphere as to whether the 20th Amendment to the Constitution can be passed in Parliament. There is a situation of unease prevailing in Parliament. A majority in Parliament is against the government in a situation where they would not extend their support to the government. However, this situation can be eased by us for such a task. I believe that if we cannot achieve this in Parliament, the people need to have a clear picture as to who is not allowing it to be achieved in Parliament. We hope to present a proposal on the 20th Amendment to the Constitution or the electoral reforms to Parliament. As many of you have already mentioned, if we find it difficult to pass the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, we have actually decided to dissolve Parliament. If we cannot pass the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, we would have no need to continue with the Parliament affairs.
And that is a wrap of Newsfirst Primetime News for today. It's a pleasure having you with us. For the Newsfirst team, I am Shahin Jurongpati.
And I'm Katharina Chang. Have a lovely evening ahead.